go. Here's the walk. Next part is we're doing the headlining. This is a legendary headlining, which is really good quality. You can feel the material's nice and heavy. You have to lay out your hood bows. Generally, all the cars I mess with, American cars, it's the larger one, longest ones at the back, and they slightly taper towards the front, so they're pretty much self-explanatory. They are coloured. I'm sure if you could look into it, each colour would tell you where they go. But like I said, generally shortest to the front, longest to the rear, and it's just a matter of sliding them through. You've got to do it in a certain way so you won't poke a hole. But all that really means is you just have it curved a little bit as you slide it through. Lift the headlining up and bow it like that, and you can get the headlining, the head bows through. And then once you get them all in, you've got to kind of centre them. So these pockets are longer than they need to be. The bow's finishing there on that one there. So you really got to try and measure it and get them centred approximately. Then you've got to cut an opening in the tube here so that the bow pokes out, and then that'll load into the side of the brackets on the car. So a little bit of organising, but nothing too difficult. The hardest part's putting it in and getting it all nice and flat, straight, smooth, with no wrinkles, which is the ultimate outcome. There. As soon as I've got these in, I'll show you the next stage. I have had this roof laying upside down on one of my other cars. Really would be nice if I had taken it out earlier and laid it out on a hot summer's day, and that would flatten out a lot of these wrinkles that have been put in there just from being parcelled up and shipped and then sitting in its box for I don't know how long since I bought this, probably 4 or 5 years ago. So right, so there's the hood bows there. Now I'll just get a little ruler and I'll just centre those hood bows to the outside of the material. Then snip a little hole in there, you'll see what I mean. So this one is approximately 7 inches. And it's 5 inches, so it's got to go an inch more that way. Let's try that. 5 inches, I think I've gone too much now. I have gone the inch the other way, so. Even out all the hood bows so they're centred to the hood lining, and I've opened up the little tubes here so that the hood bow is exposed. And sometimes you've got to trim those a little bit shorter. As you go fitting, when you're pulling it left to right, stretching it, sometimes they bind up, sometimes they don't. And now I'm just going to spray some spray glue down the sides of the head lining, because on the sides they get hooked under, and then I've got these special little clips, the factory little clips that temporarily hold the head lining in place while you position it all. And then each end of the car has got these little teeth on the edge of the roof, and they will locate the hood lining and pull them tight on that. So I'll just run some glue down the sides, and you don't want to get it where you don't want it. Also around the back here, because this is going to be got a bit of gluing on the C-pillar. Across the front corner here where the A-pillar is, it's handy to have a bit of glue. Just makes that a bit easier pulling it into shape. They did put some glue on them from the factory, but probably not as much as this. Then again, the factory had it down pat. I only do one once in a blue moon. So. Okay, so now I've got to brush all the areas around the roof line. I brush the glue on, I can't risk spraying it because you'll put glue everywhere. And then the fun's loading it in, trying to line it up and pull it taut and get all the wrinkles out. So we'll see how that goes. So this is a starting point, may not look much. So the important thing is fitting a headlining, is you've got to get the tension vertically, or lengthwise of the car. Try and get that as tight as you can, and then you've got to pull outwardly side to side, and you've got to try and pull these wrinkles smooth. Now, this has been boxed up so long these wrinkles won't disappear, I know that. You have to use steam or heat to improve those. If you get the roof evenly tensioned though, you'll be surprised if you can look away. It's hard to do, but if you can look away, drive the car around in 6 months' time, you'll find everything just about irons out. Surprising how good they come up after being left, and you go in and out of weather. So, and then on the sides, even though I've glued them, I've glued the side here, there's these special little tabs at a factory, and they go on the edge here, and they go as you wrap the headlining around, and they slip onto that edge of that roof frame, and that holds it in position until you get the thing all sorted out. So it's quite fiddly. It's pushing and pulling and backwards and forwards, and just keep messing around, and hopefully you'll get it where you want it. So I'll give you some update as I go, but it's too hard to film it while I'm trying to do it. So a quick overview. A bit hard probably to tell in here with the headliner. So this is just roughed out, so there's plenty of little wrinkles and murmurs. A lot of it is just from the vinyl being folded up from the shipping and then sitting in my office for I don't know how long. So I'll have to run over it now with the heater, probably a steam gun. And there's also, you know, trim here, there's sun visors that go up in here, trim in the corner. This has got a very wide trim at the back here. It's about this wide, so all those things add up to pulling tension on the headliner, sort of evening it out. So this is at its worst state. And then I'll give you a look when it's finished. Hopefully I've got it pretty much ironed out. So I want it to look decent, but like I said, even if it's not 100% perfect, you look back at it again 6 months later and you realise they've all ironed themselves out. So I try not to get too stressed about it, but it's got to be pretty decent. This is pretty consistent, pretty even overall, and it's also quite cold at the moment, so in a warmer climate would be better again. Like I said before, if I had left it out in the sun would have made it a lot better too, but it'll come up all right. Today is stripe day, so finally putting the stripes on. So I'll give you a quick look. So there's the old girl all shiny, looking really good. And so what I've done is I've laid out masking tape lines for me to follow the pinstripe. So very important to get them nice and straight. I want them just a fraction below the body line, so it'll still show the nice straight body line. But it's hit and miss if you look online and any information you get. I did take some photos of the car to start with. It's a bit hard because the line on this car was like the ocean. It went up and down. It was terrible. Must have been a Monday or something when they put the stripe on because it looked shocking. So it's more important to get it straight, but I like it just about 1/4 inch below the body line. I've got a measurement on the front here to put the GT decal on first and then run the stripe back second. So got the front all on finally, looking pretty. So I've just laid out the stripes. So what I've done is I've cut the stripes up and I've cut them really close to the one side of this stripe. Because this stripe's the same, you know, top and bottom, doesn't matter. So I've just cut one side really close. So when I lay it down beside the masking tape line, I'll just get that edge right up against the edge of the masking tape. So it'll definitely has to be straight. Still has a bit of an eye for detail. So you've got to be pretty careful with the scissors. Hopefully as a kid you were good at kindergarten cutting out paper shapes because you need to be pretty good with your scissors to make sure you get it nice and straight and not cut the tape, the stripe. So that's it, but she's looking really pretty, really happy with the way it's coming out. So I'll show you a little bit of putting the stripe on. It's not that exciting, but I'll film it anyway. Okay, so let's peel this off. So what you got to do is you make sure you get it close to the tape line, keeping it straight, and that bit of tape there will give me the right spacing from both sides, left to right. I'm not putting this on with water. The decal I think is small enough that I can control it, hopefully. This has got a bloody sticker over it, which makes it hard to see what's going on. Here we have the first one. This is one of the features I like about this particular car, so it's very gratifying to finally get these pieces on. Now the stripe is next. So because I've cut that edge nice and parallel, all I got to do is tuck it up hard against the masking tape and you shouldn't go wrong, in theory. Piece at a time. Got to remember to clean the surface with either some Prepsol or methylated spirit, something like that. Make sure the surface is clean. Anything oily on there, and obviously no dust if you can help it. Jelly. Oh, it was no fun. The backing came off, so I've got to be a bit more careful as I peel it, but the backing came off and stayed behind on some of the little tabs. I had to carefully remove them one at a time. There's a little stripe that's come out altogether, so you've got to really have to watch this. I don't know what the secret is there. It shouldn't really come and drift like that. What do I do with the blade? There it is. But obviously give you a little bit more than you need. It's looking nice and straight. Nothing's ever really easy. There's always something. Gotta make sure you rub it down nice and tight before we pull the backing off. Yeah, this is not easy. Because every sticker is one at a time, so I figure maybe pull it up 45 degrees like that. That way it's not pulling on it, it's starting at one corner, and just slowly pull it back on itself, pull it vertically, slightly diagonal like that. And literally watch every little square, make sure you don't pull one out. So far, so good. I mean, worst disaster, if one did come off, you could pinch one. I'm sure there's going to be excess. So you could pinch one with two little stripes and just put them in manually, so it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it'd be nice to get them all in one go. Like that. There we go. One down, 7 to go. Pays to have little details like this. It's a bit extreme. The boot lid was shot on this car, it was rusted out in the frame. But I managed to chop out the section so I get an exact measurement where the GT decal went back in the day. So, funny little things you do. Anyway, so I've marked it with tape so the GT goes in below in there. And I know it's going to be exactly where it was back in the day. And also there's still an image left on the metal piece as well on the right light. I can tell exactly where the Sport Fury badge goes, which is above it. So those two things will work out perfect. So looking pretty flash. side and see how nice and straight the stripe is. Don't have to pick that up on camera or not. Looking pretty good. Now I've just got to work out the Sport Fury badge. So this will be a bit of fun. I'm going to try and put these stripes on. No water or soap down. Try and land them in the right spot. This will be the difficult spot. I've tried to mark a centre line where to drop that. And hopefully leave the backing on that side. Yeah, I think I'll peel it, cut the backing so this side has the backing stay on it. Then I'll peel this side, then I can just lay it down, then I can do the opposite side. So sounds good in theory. Let's see how it goes in practice. Only get one shot at it. Put my eyes on. Obviously the tape down the side again like I did with the side, to give you a bit of a guide where you want the stripe to go. Only this is a bigger decal, of course. This is what I mean, I'm going to cut that side off. So at least it's not going to drop and stick. All I've got to do is land this piece in the right centre. And then I just have to concentrate on pulling the stripe. Down the body line of the car. Because there's a little bit of give and take. You can move this around a little bit. That's why I didn't want to do it with water. So that's nice in the middle. And just follow the masking tape. Down one side. Then I can do the other. So now I'll pull this piece off. That way you haven't got sticky bits landing around all over the joint. And that masking tape line is just a guide so I can see where the body line is on the hood, and hopefully follow that. So if that's on wrong, it's too late now. That looks nice and even. I'll take the cover off that in a minute. Let's do this side. I measured the width at the 2 points here on both sides to make sure they're the same. So in theory, it should come out looking even. Let's see how we go. A little bit nerve-wracking because you can't afford to make a mistake. These decals don't grow on trees. I'll cut that under there again. And we'll just concentrate on the outside. Mark the little mark I put on the stripe at the front there. That in the middle. So as long as you don't press it down too hard, you can go back. As long as you don't press it down too hard, you can go back. It's not a total disaster if you don't quite drop it in the right spot immediately. Following that masking tape line. this one off. The stripe masking tape is just a rough guide, so you kind of make sure you're following the shadow line of the bulge in the hood. That's mainly what I'm interested in. Looks pretty good. Take that off the paint. So any little bubbles or blisters you might have got will definitely come out in the sun. Just a couple of, little bit of time in the sun and they will just disappear. I would prefer they weren't there. I probably should have rubbed it down with a spatula they give you when you, like a plastic blade they give you when you buy the stripe. Rubbed it down, haven't I? Here we go. They're on. Now I've got the 440 badges to go on either side. Sport Fury badge on the boot. And I'm getting to the end. It's not the last time I'm going to say it, so be prepared. How good's that look? Stripes are all on. Badges are in, are on. Got a light green. It's almost looking done. Beautiful. All the badges are on. Looks fantastic. I'm sure there's variations on where those badges and decals go. I've seen quite a variations online. I'm not sure whether they're put on at the dealership or by pre-delivery or not, or at the factory. And this stripe on this car was really bad. It was up and down, like I said before, like the ocean. So I'm not surprised if there be some variation, but pretty much most of it's self-explanatory.